What's happening, good people? I feel like, man, you can make the decision. What's going on, man? I wanted to snap and chat with you guys about, man, I was off grid completely. Y'all know last live, if you were around, if you watched it, I was messing around with my male to male cable. So what I did was I had, wait, where is it? I had my OG cable, very dangerous stuff, as you could imagine. It's actually not so. It's not as dangerous with power stations, but one thing that I learned, I was watching a couple videos on these cables, and the main reason why I feel like they got a bad rep is because I think with generators, you have to start generators and then kind of like plug your load into the joints. What's up, subject to change? MJ, C, what's that? C Bird, Jay, what's happening? I think you have to start these generators. Also, this is from a time long ago, right? When the generators were more open frame, we didn't have as many smart inverter generators. I shouldn't say smart inverter generators. They were open frame. They produced like a lot of power. You couldn't like dial them down or dial. So you would have like a spike and it would be a whole thing. Now I was just kind of deducing, don't quote me on any of this, but I had this when I was messing around with it. You gotta watch. I'm still in the process of finding my first video. Huh? You forgot what? Oh wow, that's deep. I can't find the first live that I did where I was talking about it, but I think I found it. So I'll try and link that one. But I did talk about this a little bit more. I give a bit of a summary in my last live stream, and that one has timestamps. So you have been warned. This is dangerous. Yeah, but I've been messing around with it. So, man, I finally ordered. So I got another one. Holy moly. So I bought another one of these because here's the problem, the issue you run into. When you plug one of these in, whatever side of your panel, at least in my example, whatever side of your panel you plug into one of these circuits, only one side of that panel is live. So I had some other circuits on the right side of my panel that were not powered because I only had one, but then I got my second one yesterday. Now, I'm gonna talk about this a little more, but hey, Dominique Unique, always good to see you. I'm gonna talk about this a little more um, in a video. I need to edit the video. I shot the video today. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chop it up, and once I chop it up, I'm gonna have it unlisted. It's gonna be in the comment section of this video, and I'm gonna toss it over on Patreon. So if you happen to be here with the live, you basically get a sample of a Patreon video where it's a little more casual, it's a little more behind the scenes, it's a little more like it's not as to the point as I try to be with my YouTube videos. Everything about my life is to the point, but it's a little more casual. Um, so I got them and I got it in and I went through the process of doing all that. You'll see the process of me doing everything in the video. I'm going to try and edit it between tonight and tomorrow so I can put it up. As soon as I have a version of it that is decent, I'll put it up and unlisted on in the comments of this video. But I was basically off grid all day today, and it was fantastic. Both of my sides of my panel were lit. Everything in my house was powered with the exception of my 240 volt. I only have one 240 volt outlet, and that's for my stove. So I basically was able to go as long as I could until my wife had to cook, which was probably about at like 8 o'clock or something like that. She actually is oddly enough, she actually cooked the kids. She prepared some What did she prepare? She did something for them, but she did it in the air fryer, so I didn't have to interrupt it then. Now, I do want to show you guys something. Where's my freaking monitor at? My monitor's not working. I do want to show you guys something because I did this before when my wife was not around. This is okay. Now it's going to get power. Hopefully that didn't mess things up. What's up, Kohack? Grand Acres, what's happening? I didn't send anybody an alert that I was going to be going live other than Set Tight. So nobody else got a heads up. It was only like an hour or two away. So I feel like I ain't going to bother people at no 9 o'clock messaging folks to let them know. I almost sent one to Jay, but then I was like, I know Jay kind of, he works and, like his travel schedule. And, I was like, I ain't going to bother that man at no 9 o'clock. But it's good to see you. Good to see you that you're hanging around. I want to show you guys something about my light company. So I'm going to kind of get that going here in a second. Prepare for that. But it was nice, man. It was pretty dope. Now today wasn't even like a banging Sunday. It wasn't a sunny day at all. I was getting about 10% output, maybe 20% at times on most of my panel situations. I have about a 1,000 watts on the ACP, and then I have two. I'm just gonna round up two 600-watt arrays, and I have two 300-watt panels that are scragglers. Is it stragglers or scragglers? I have two of those that are loose going directly into just one power station. And then I have a 300 in the front and a 200 in the front. And I have 200 watts times 3. Not an add none of that up, but just a lot of power. It's a good bit of, I think I added it up a few days ago. It was about 4 kilowatts of power on paper. And you don't get that, but that's how much it was. What's up, Nathan? And we got, I can't read that. Mitchove? What's happening? I haven't read any comments yet. I wanted to be able to get right into this stuff, but I want to go to my bill because I want to show you guys something. Because I had this question about whether or not my utility company would actually show me at 0 for that time. And I did the test 3 times now. I did it once and it kind of overlapped between 2 hours, but it was in between. It was about maybe 100 and is it fair to say 150 minutes? It was like an hour and a half in between 2 hours. And how my electric company does it is they go from hour to hour. So they treat 1 hour as a block. So because I used power in between like 12 to 1 and then 1 to 2, I had power on both of those joints. And I wasn't sure if they were like, if my meter was using power. Because I'm like, why I got 70 watts on here and then 80 watts on here? But I figured it out. It was because I had used power in between those two windows. But I want to show you what happened when I was more intentional with going from pillar to post. Which day was it? I guess we could share this. We're going to see how it goes. Present. Share screen. Let's do a window. And then we're going to add that thing. All right, I'm going to take my face off so it can get a little bigger. Now, this is my energy use. I'll show you guys my cost. Yeah, so you can see it ranges a little bit. These are days when it cost me heavy because I used a good amount of power. That was probably super hot days for us, or it was when it was warm enough and we had to cook. I'm sorry, when it was hot and we had to cook. Actually, let's just look at it. So we look at the cost. Now I could give you a little more detail. Yeah, this is a lot of air conditioners running right here over the night to keep us cool. I don't know why I went so far into the morning. It was probably a time when I forgot to turn the air conditioners off or something like that. So let's go back to the bill view. So you can see over the last 30 days, I've had some high times. These are estimated. I won't get into that. They say it's at a moment where they can't access my meter. I need to call them. Setai was suggesting that I should call them. I feel like I've talked to them about it once, but I can't remember. I think this is the day right here. So you can see how much usage. And this is like when I talk about how I spend about like on average $3 a day on electricity, maybe $4. That's where I get that idea that I'm saving about 60% off of my bill. Because on this high day, this is an actually abnormally high day, but I'm typically about right here with solar. Now, without solar, I live in this area where it's like $3. So that's normal usage, about $3. This one is pretty high. So let's jump over to this tab. So we got 27 kilowatt hours. That's a lot. That's definitely a lot. That's a lot of power being used right there. That is not typical, but not uncommon. So this was the day. I guess I'll put my face up here some kind of way. This was the day when I first tested the suicide cable. So you can see here, I was looking at it like, man, why do I have 60 watts being used? But that's when I was using power. I had started it at like 12:15, and then I had to end it at like 1:45 or something like that. But you can see how this is trending. 200 watts. This is an actually super low day. I only used 4 kilowatts of power for the whole day, I believe, on this one. So that's 200 watts because it measures it in kilowatt hours. So you have to pretend that there's another zero. So if you just drop that zero off at the front, you got 160, 140, 140, 150, 150, 170. So this is a very interesting load. Now, these are night hours. But when you get here, you got 250, right? Then you got 270, the 60 when I was doing my suicide cable, 360. That was probably high. Maybe we had to use the microwave right there at that time. 110, 110, 210, 220, 220, 170. Now you think about all of that and you consider all of that. Now I automatically have my deep freezer, and we recently got upright freezer. My internet, for the most part, lighting, so to speak, because we during the daytime we don't use a whole lot of lights. My wife is all about natural light. She's always been that way, even before solar. So those things are always on solar. And my fridge is always on the grid, which is the one thing that is kind of remaining. This is pretty much why that bill sits at about 100 and some odd watts, 130, 160, things like that. Now, I did this with this stuff and I thought that that was cool, but I had to test it again. Let me see when's the next day I tested it. Because I was curious about like whether or not my electric company will actually zero me out, or will they have some kind of like ghost power going on that they can't explain. But I'm getting to the day here, so check this out. Look at this right here. Now the max up here, the bar is a little deceptive because it goes up to a certain height, but this is only 800 watt hours or zero 0.8 kilowatt hours. So I was using 230, 130, 110, 110, 110, and then nothing. I think that's delightful. Like no usage. Then people, they charge me no money. And if we take it from, now this is pennies, right? This isn't even a kilowatt hour. So if we go to energy cost, you can see that this is like 4 cents, 2 cents, 2 cents. And then there I spent no money at all, which adds up. It's not a lot, but it freaking adds up. We typically have like $100 bill, maybe a 90, but with solar and stuff, I've been getting us down to 80. And hopefully we're being able to pull more of this stuff and just have my house just be offline. I can get us down to like very low. And then that's money savings. That's like real coin I'm saving. So you think about that in terms of like how much power I'm using. 200 watts. I mean, it goes up. But if I could cover most of my day, it's like I was sitting here looking at all of that solar power. I'm like, man, there's no reason why. There's no reason why all this power I have coming in, I should be playing this game of storing power versus using power. If you go all the way back to my Bodens and Rockbell days, I was all about using the power, but I didn't have a means by which to get it into my system. So I was wild nervous doing this stuff, y'all. I'm just keeping a buck. I was taking all of these precautions that I could take in terms of putting everything on, but it worked out relatively well. I had like a whole struggle with trying to find like where could I put the male to male cable into the wall, because you have to find two circuits that are not on the same side of the panel. And I talk about all of that in the video. Again, I'll have that video up soon. It'll be on Patreon for sure. And I'll put it unlisted in here for you folks that's hanging out. But I'm happy that they don't nickel and dime me here. Now, whether this changes in the future, I don't know, but it's pretty cool. Now, I can't see my usage from today until Monday. So that sucks. I'm like 2 days behind. But I went pretty much a good, I don't know, 12, no, not 12 hours. I definitely went from about 12 to 8 with everything being powered from solar. And it mainly what didn't come from solar per se, but it came from my battery reservoir. And what I've been dealing with a lot lately is it doesn't really impact me a whole lot until I have multiple days back to back. But what I've been dealing with a lot lately is full power stations, and not necessarily the ones I use day in and day out. Like I have the AC200P. The AC200P is sitting on top of the Alcatel. So I power dump from the ACP into the Alcatel sometimes. I don't do it often, but the Alcatel is full. Up until today, the AceFold was full, and it's been full for days. And I just kind of cycle what I have. What else has been full often? I've been getting into the habit of power dumping into my batteries a lot more than my power stations. But because since I put solar on the top floor, which I did put that video out on Patreon, me putting solar on the top floor and kind of going through that whole process. That's another one that's just a kind of, you just come along for the ride, just kind of buckle in and stroll with me. What I'm actually thinking about doing, I was thinking about editing this video that I recorded today and doing a premiere. A premiere is like live streaming where we can kind of all watch together. So I was going to do that. I was thinking about it. I was going to do that. And then I was going to take it down afterwards, because I don't know if I want a male to male casual video just out there in the wild. I feel like if you guys are around to catch it, cool. If somebody's around to catch the premiere so we could talk through it and chat and you could be there during the whole experience, I think that would be nice. That would be cool, but I'm not going to leave that video up. It'll stay up on Patreon and it'll stay up unlisted here, but I'm not going to leave that out in the open. When I make a male to male cable video, I don't actually know how to approach it because I'm no expert, you know what I mean? So I just want to be able to make sure that I'm being clear about like it's like Bite My Bits has a video where he made a custom cable, and he was very much like, seriously guys, for all things you consider holy and you value your life, do not do this. And I'm just like, you have to take responsibility for the not so bright people out there in the world. But at some point, I mean, we live in a crazy world where people have to take responsibility for other adults doing silly stuff. That's a whole nother thing. But it's just like, man, as a disclaimer, just like, don't try this stuff if you're not familiar. I mean, y'all know it's AskIve for a reason. So you could definitely reach out and ask me if you got questions, much like I reach out to my man Setite. Because I be having questions. I appreciate him greatly. I think he's around here. I saw his name somewhere. But it's, you don't want to get caught slipping with something like that. You definitely don't want to have an issue where you get caught up and you catch a zap or you catch something a little more life threatening because you think it's sweet out here in these streets and you're not paying attention to what you're doing. But he was overdoing it. He's like, don't do this for everything you consider holy. And it's just like, what a statement. But whatever. It's just overboard. But it's like, don't try it unless you are willing to go down the path of taking that risk. But my take is, for me personally, as a person who's tried to do things as safely as possible, as a person who's not using a gas generator, I don't know if the gas generator presents certain variables. I kind of like was deducing that from the video that I was watching, that there's some caveats, but I don't know. Because I think you don't want to put a load on a generator until you start it, which essentially means that, yeah, I don't know. It's the same situation. You turn everything off in your panel. You turn your main off. You turn your 240s off. I turned all my individual circuits off. And then you plug that into the generator. Shouldn't be no spike. Shouldn't be no surge. But I don't know how inverter generators differ from power stations because it is a moving piece. And you do have like that rev and all of that jazz. I don't know if somebody has any experience with that. Feel free to drop a comment and enlighten us all. Let me see what y'all snapping and driving about. We just gonna take it from the top. What's happening, MJ? Jay, I say what up. Ignorance can kill. That's for sure. Yeah, you got to know what you're doing. It's like, why would any listen, man? I'm a researcher. I consider myself to be an intellectual of sorts. I know the average person. It's like, I don't know, man. You can't account for everybody. And again, in society, we're in this weird space where people. It's funny because the guy who's running on the Republican, whatever it's called, Vivek Ramaswamy. I'm not sure what his name is. I think that's what his name is. He has this platform, which I respect, which is that he says the American people are smart and they can handle the truth. I think that is aspirational. But I think most people are smart-ish and can handle the truth, especially most people of a certain age. Let me say that. I'm like 40. People who are older than me are typically, you guys are cut from a different cloth than the people who are younger. It just is what it is. But anyway, that's kind of like his thing. And it's like, I think you should start trying to treat people like grown-ups and not like play for the least common ignorant person. I don't know, but we can't have it. We can't have it the way we want it. She's in order for me to do this live, the missus is upstairs taking care of the kids' bath time. I usually take care of the nighttime routine. All right, I said hello to Dominique Unique. Grand Acres. Most people don't understand separation of power from grid and offline sources. Babe, MJ said, hey. What's up? You do. She said, what's up? And she need to catch up with you. So cold hack, what I did was I bought my first one off of Amazon, but I had to get this one off of eBay. eBay still sells them. I paid about $13. The gauge is somewhat questionable. Actually, we could delve into that a little bit. The gauge is somewhat questionable. Let me see if I could find my little extension cord window. I don't know if it's 12 gauge because let me show you. And I may still pull out the short about this. The yellow one is the one I bought from Amazon before they stopped selling them. Look at the wire difference. Now, like I point out in the short that I may put out tomorrow, maybe the sheath around the wire is not an indicator, but I was just like, I don't know. That looks the red one's a little suspect. Now, the red one is a little longer than this one. Let me see if I could try and show you. And I ordered the longer one on purpose because I like options. Why not get a slightly longer one? So red one's a little bit longer. They had blue and yellow and um, red. So I ordered the red one. So eBay is where you can get it from. Now, let's share. I wonder if you could share multiple things, or you just have to pick one source. Let's throw this so we could chat about this a little bit. Now, this is interesting. I had to do research on this because I wanted to know what these extension cords are actually rated for in terms of watts, because what they typically rate them for is amps. And I know that that's easy for you to understand, but I needed somebody to break it down for me. 15 amps don't always trigger a number for me. 18 amps, 20 amps, things like that. But it's really just that, it's the same thing. Volts times amps is watts. So if you can run 15 amps through a cable at a particular voltage, then whatever voltage you have, if you have a 110 power station, you multiply that times 15. If you have a 120 situation from your wall, you multiply that times 15 or 18 or whatever. So if you look here, this is a 50-foot cable. And what I want you to notice, if you can see it, let me see if I can zoom this in. It's a little close here. But if you can see it, the 50-foot cable is rated at the same rate as a 25-foot cable. They're both 1450 watts for 16 gauge. So it can do up to 13 amps, 1430, 13 amps, 1650, 1650. I don't have a cable that's longer than 50 foot, I don't believe. I have a couple like 12 gauge 10-foot cables. I have a 14 gauge 15-foot cable, and I have a bunch of like 16 gauge of various lengths. But I don't have anything longer than 50. So even if I use 16 gauge, which I would caution against, you should be able to run 1430 watts through a 16 gauge cable at 50 foot. That's what they say. Well, you know what I mean? Like, what are you supposed to do? They say it. I kind of trust it a little bit. But here's the kicker. The average use for me around here, like I said, was 200 watts, 300 watts, 160 watts. You saw on the bill, it's not a whole lot of power flowing through my house at any particular time, especially since I have other loads that are off of solar. Another reason why having other loads be on solar or independent power stations, I should say, and not on the wall, is it gives me the same thing it gives me when the power goes out. It's like that continues to run. So even though I have to switch between grid and off grid, my internet is on the AC60 with a panel out in the front yard. So my internet doesn't drop down when I have to switch from my main power to my main being off and doing only solar power via my male to male cables or suicide cables. So that's pretty neat. So the extension cord stuff is educational for me, just for the sake of talking about it. Let's look at a 100-foot cable and what you could run through there according to this particular site. So you could get up to 10 amps in a 100-foot cable. So 1100 watts. I feel like 1,000 watts through a 100-foot cable. It's good to know stuff like that. I would still probably want to do at least 14 gauge, because something that Set Type pointed out to me, that Armand Allen pointed out to me, that the internet points out to me through the NEC code is, and I don't know if these numbers are taking into percent, that are taking into account for that percentage gap, but they say you should not run anything full throttle. So I don't know if these numbers account for that, but if it says it could do 1100 watts, the typical idea is you kind of want to give a 20% cushion. So you only want to do about 80% of that capacity. 1100 watts, that's what, 110, 220. You take 220 off of that, that's about what, 880? So 880 watts is what you could run through a 100-foot whatever. I'll drop this link down here just so it's on wax. But we'll deviate from that. I think that's fascinating. I look at this particular And this is not just good for male-to-male cables. This is good to know what your extension cords are rated for power-wise, because if you jump out there and you're trying to run a window air conditioner that can use 1,000 watts and you're not using the proper rated cable and you're not taking into account that 80% usage or utilization rule with leaving 20% for whatever they say leave 20% for, then yeah, you start to have issues where you can melt outlets and extension cables, and worst case scenario, you could have a fire. So again, me, informed perspective, not just like, oh, I'm trying it. And maybe that's a difference between introverts and extroverts, because my wife is an extrovert. And I'm gonna throw y'all extroverts under the bus real quick, because she is definitely a get it done, think about it after kind of person. Introverts, we kind of live in our brains and we're very intentional. We're very, I don't want to say studious, but information driven. I'm painting with a broad brush. But maybe it's the extroverts we got to be worried about in this country. Maybe y'all are ignorant ones. I wish he was around to hear this. I think I'm on to something there. I think I'm on to something. Let me make some progress through these comments. Oh man. Okay, I answered that. Remember to hit the like button, the thumbs up. Remember to do that if you're into it. Say good to catch a live. Hey, good to catch you catching a live. It's 7 here. All right, hey, that's what's up. You got time to burn. Nathan, say what's up. What's up, man? Less stuff, more freedom, living the van life. I'm cooling. All is well. Greetings from the road. Oh, okay, where you at, man? If you don't mind sharing. Oh my, the electric bill. My electric bill is. I got no complaints. Money's just tight, so it's cool to be able to save a little more coins. You know what I mean? My wife was just like, it's like, yeah, money's it's tight. It's tight. Love these Saturday night lives. Good to see you all on the channel tonight. That's what's up. That's what's up. I need to do the lives more. Your utility gives you much better info than, yeah, you be out there struggling. 4 kilowatt hours is a low hour for me. Man, satellite uses so much power, but I use so little power. So that's an interesting thing. I don't use a lot of power at all. Like I say often, it's like we don't have a whole lot of stuff. Even though I'm like a real techie guy, we don't have a lot of stuff. And I'm ever since I got into solar, I want more power efficient stuff, but we still don't have a lot of stuff. I just looked at my usage high since August, several days at 40 kilowatt hours. Hoo-wee. Hey, look, man, I'm at 27, so I dig it. I dig it. That's what air conditioning would do. What's up, Jason Doyle? Good to see you, sir. I almost sent you the video of oh no. I almost had in mind that when I was done with the video to send it to you. But you don't strike me as the kind of guy who would like want to sit down and watch a video that's more casual. So I just never do. But it'll be down there if you're interested. It was a good day. It was certainly a good day. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I also don't know where you stand on male to male cables. I know you have a certain personality that is your DIY, and I feel like you put in a transfer switch yourself. So I know that something like a suicide cable probably is like, I don't think you would want to mess with that. So that's another reason why I was like, I ain't gonna bother Jason Noy, because I almost messaged you today to tell you about it. I know I talked to Bean about it, who's another DIY, Bean Energy. He's down there in Texas. He was on the live stream, me, him, and Set Tight, and he was just like, yeah, I'm not a fan of them. I think we were talking about grid tie inverters. He was just anti. But Bean strikes me as an industry guy. So I don't expect, like, some people, there's no nuance for them. And I'm not saying it's about Being, but you'll have people who come in, and again, I have an issue even politically with people who like to make one rule apply to everybody. I have an issue with that. We are one size fits all country. It drives me crazy sometimes, because not all things you can't really govern effectively that way. I don't. Maybe it's the best. Maybe it's the most effective way to govern, but it just seems like we need something other than that. But that goes down a whole other rabbit hole. But you'll have people who'll say, "Don't do it. It's dangerous. It's crazy." Even Silver Symbol has a video about the suicide cords, and in his video, even in him being fair and honest about the drawbacks, the reasons he shares for why not to use them is all human error. And it's just like, and I'm the kind of guy. I'm not a subsistence living kind of guy. I'm not one of those dudes, but I love those kind of people. I love to watch those kind of shows. Those people get out there in those wildernesses and they do what they have to do. They plan it and they just make it work. They try to, like, it's a very like independence heavy thing, which is what solar is really all about. A lot of the backbone of why this community exists is people want to be independent. They want to be self-sufficient. They don't want Big Brother and Uncle Sam and all of them kind of reaching into their business. And it's just like, man, you just need to do what you need to do to make sure that you're keeping yourself safe and your family safe. We don't need to have all of these things. And I say all that because you'll see people in these type of videos just say, "Don't do it. It's dangerous. You'll kill a lineman." And you know what I mean? It's just like all of this stuff. And Setai always brings up the point. I don't mean to put you on a call you to the carpet here, but he's like, aren't people who work on the lines assuming that the lines are hot to begin with? Don't they have that in mind? I know I wouldn't take no chances if I was a person who worked on that pole. I wouldn't care if the electricity is out if a hurricane came through. I feel like you got to be careful. So it's just like, I'm not a big fan of these people who don't think through what they're saying and how it applies. They're just like, "Nope, don't do it. It's not smart. You can hurt somebody." And I'm just like, really? Hey, some of y'all might be in here, but that's just not how I process things. Like, people say, "Don't put an air conditioner on an extension cord." It's like, well, why? Can you tell me why? Because I don't think you got a good reason. Oh, the people who don't know any better. Well, I'm not those people. So can you tell me anyway? All right, all right, all right. Okay, wait till winter. I'm not 100% off grid, but electric bill from the grid was only $57 last month. And how much is your power, subject to change, per kilowatt? I wish my power company provided this much detail. That is awesome. I know, man. Hashtag blessed. What's up, Beats? I appreciate that, man. Blessings to you and your family as well. A transfer switch or interlock isn't that hard, my man. See, Jason Roy coming through with that logic. That's how he rocks. It's not. I'm getting a better understanding of how straightforward it is. The thing that intimidates me is the panel. I'm not into that. But a transfer switch in and of itself, yeah, I get it. I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm not comfortable enough to do it myself. I'd be willing to hang around while somebody who was more savvy did it. Like my cousin said, he was like, "Yeah, I could put a transfer switch in for you." But he was like he could actually change out the panel for me, but he preferred for an electrician to do something like that. Like if he did it himself, it will be at like his own house. He wouldn't want to take that risk in somebody else's house, which I fully respect. I fully respect. What's up, brother Trot? Practical Gadgeteer. Trying to gain good evening. Oh yeah, I got you the first time. I don't think you're not blocked. What's up, Three Blue Dragons? Been a while. Man, what's happening? Having a little tiff. What EF? Oh, EcoFlow. I will win. Listen. I'm with you there. Just so his own wax. You're welcome. You're welcome. Lowe's, what's happening? Extroverts. I wasn't ready for that. A world of introverts would have been devoured by the wolves a long time ago. That's a fact. Well, I mean, I can get along with that. Certainly, we're a certain type, that's for sure. I'm an introvert, but I'm often accused of overthinking it. Yeah, but in truth, it's not that I'm overthinking it. It's just that most people don't think enough or don't think at all. Yeah, I can overthink things. The reason why I'm prone to overthinking things is because I have made mistakes when I don't overthink things. And I don't like to do things more than once. I'm very like a work smarter, not harder kind of guy. So I'm gonna think it through. I need to get a soft start, then I can really save some money by putting my AC on solar. I'm interested in that soft start stuff, but I never got around to really getting into it heavy. I poked around some sites, a site or two here and there, and it's a very interesting thing because I don't quite need a soft start, but I will be able to run my ACs off of smaller power stations if I could account for that surge. So what's going on is basically y'all may or may not know your fridge, your air conditioner with these compressors, they have to pull a lot of power to get started. We talked about this a few lives ago where my AC 200p was having issues running this 10,000 watt BTU air conditioner, and it spikes up to about 30 amps. And that's just what I see on the screen. I don't know how high it actually goes. So in order for me to get it to work, I have to take everything off of PowerWise, the AC 200p. And it's really just a lamp. I have to take the lamp off. I turn off what's this thing called? A surge protector or a power strip. I think it has surge capability in it, but it may just be a pure power strip. There is a difference. I didn't always know that. Um, but nothing will be on that. But if I have that light on and that light uses like 8 watts, 10 watts, it doesn't even register on the AC 200p. If I have that on, then that AC won't start. Now, Setai suggested that I move the Bluetti AC 200p closer so I can plug it directly into the joint. But I'm not doing that. It's stacked here. It's nice. It's I'm not. So I just bought some longer. I bought some really short 12 gauge cables because we suspected that that was a thing. But now what I do is I just turn the AC on and I put the fan on low to help absorb some of the power because I feel like maybe it's just using more power than it needs to use. And then I turn that light off. And once the compressor starts up, it starts to use about 900 watts. Then I can turn the fan back up and it's fine until it needs to, like, if I have to turn it off and turn it back on. But if it like, and it never turns off by itself because it doesn't get this area too cold anyway to kind of have to deal with that. But anyway, I will say the shorter cable has strong power, but uses, I will say that the shorter cable has strong power, but uses a shorter cable. I'm not sure I follow that, but yeah, AC is the thing that kills me. My office AC uses 1500 watts. My house AC uses, holy moly, 2.5. What's up, LA? Coming in the door before another so amazing. I dig it. I keep telling folks everything ain't for everybody. That's a fact. Yeah, the government is problematic, like how the federal government threatens states who want to legalize raw milk. Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's like mind your business. Mind your business. It's like I don't understand it. I mean, I do get it, but I feel like because okay, you also have to govern for the whatever you want to call it. Because I think about poor people. I have a particular like angle being like a black man in America who grew up in New Orleans. It's like a largely, it's called affectionately called the Chocolate City. Um, you can't govern for like the middle class and upper middle class the same way you govern for the poor. You can't write policy for those people the same way you write the policy for the poor people. I mean, I'm not being a stickler here, but I just mean like if you say a kid has to come to school and be ready to focus on school, but in a middle class family, that kid is not hungry, that kid actually slept in the bed, that kid has clean clothes, you know what I mean? He has a haircut, he has showered, he has bathed. And then the poor kid, it is like, well, you came to school and you not ready. We have a zero tolerance policy for that. And it's just like, well, that dude has different struggles. That chick has different struggles. So it can't be necessarily a one size fits all. And that's even an example of where it can't be one size fits all. So you have to kind of be mindful of that. So I get it, but it's just like, can we just figure out a way to be like, okay, you want to do this? All right, check this box. Go on about your merry way. Something happens to you on your merry way, don't come to us. I feel, I feel like I should not have to wear a seatbelt. I feel like my kids should have to wear a seatbelt. Absolutely. Maybe elderly folks should have to wear a seatbelt. But I, as a grown man, should not be subject to getting a ticket because you happen to see me without my seatbelt on. It's like I'm a grown man, dog. I'm going right around the way. If I get into a fender bender, because they say most accidents happen within a mile or so of your home, it's okay. And to be a little crass, I feel like just have me pay a clean me up off of the highway fee. If that's your problem, okay, what if you get ejected? Then we got to deal with that. It's like, okay, well, let me pay that then. How much that costs? How much that hit for? Can I put a pool in that so you don't bother me about my seatbelt? But anyway, I digress. Let's see here. Common sense is vital. That's for sure. Have you considered using a male outlet plug as opposed to a double male cable? In what regard, sir? A male outlet plug. Yeah, but you would still, it's like, no, all you are doing is, if I understand you correctly, you're just reproducing the model that we have in our houses in the first place. You got the live behind a female receptacle. If I did a male to an outlet, that's just a live to a female receptacle. At some point, to get power from my power station to my wall to go into my house's system, it's going to have to be a male to male. Unless you mean like one of those inlet switches, which I have considered, but I would need some method to, because I mean, I say this very often. Every time we talk about these male to male switches, all the all the interlock does is just make sure you can't mess up. But if you're a person of self-control and restraint and you know what you're doing, then you can't mess up anyway. So it's just like, the interlock just makes the government feel better about the fact that you're doing it. And I don't care about how the government feels. Like, mind your business. You should check the laws where you are and see if you are allowed to change your panel. Yeah, I'm not going to do it, so I ain't going to check it. A lot of cities don't allow it. I had to move because I wasn't allowed to do any of my own work. Can't even do the plumbing under the sink. What? As my as a certain sect of wonderful Black women say, who gonna check me? That's wild, man. That stuff is wild. People should be ashamed of themselves. It's like well-meaning losers. Talk about that. The federal government was not given those authority in the Constitution to regulate food, so 10A applies. The Fed needs to pounce in. The only thing about that is stuff changes. I get it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's a hard, that's that type of conversation is very interesting to navigate. Because it's like, you, as a reasonable person, as a part of the reasonable delegation, it's like you get why we have the First Amendment, Second Amendment on, and so on and so forth. But you get why it needs amendments sometimes. It needs to be amended. It needs to be like but it's like, if the people suggesting the changes are crazy, or they have a particular set of glasses on, and it's just like, well, I mean, yeah, it could be changed, but just not by you, because you crazy. So we're not gonna do that. How long are you running the AC, and is the 200p on solar in the daytime while you're running this AC? So, and we don't run our AC a lot. We only run it when we need to. We lived in this house for years without air conditioning. The only reason why I entertain entertain. The only reason why we had to got introduced to window cooling is when my son was born. My wife was just like, yeah, we got to get an air conditioner for them. We can't have them sleeping in it. And I was like, man, people in Africa been sleeping without conditioned air for years. Their kids will be all right. But she was right. I wasn't really challenging her. I was going to challenge her in a joking manner. But her particular, she's more urgent than I am. And I'm just like, relax. Society has lived without air conditioning. These kids know nothing but what we expose them to. So they'll be fine. But we got air conditioners. And man, when we got that first air conditioner, I can't lie, because I grew up with central air in New Orleans. I felt like I had found the cheat code to life, especially getting it off the marketplace. Because it's like, man, air conditioners are this cheap? And we've been struggling all these years without AC. I felt like I was cheating. I can't lie. I felt like I found a life hack unlocked that I just been missing out on for way too long. So we don't run it long. The AC 200p is typically on solar. When it's banging during the summer, it gets 700 watts. I have a 1,000-watt array on it because essentially that array is flat. It lays flat all the time, so I don't adjust it. So I account for the 20% loss that I'm going to get just off of GP, which gets me down to 800. Realistically, it's probably not going to get that much power anyway through the majority of the time. So it's just a 1,000-watt array. And I hit 700 not often, but when the sun was really overhead, that's what I would be at. And my air conditioner uses about 1,000 watts. So I run it for about an hour. I religiously use the timer setting. I'll let the air conditioner run for like an hour and a half. Sometimes when it's really hot, maybe 2. And that works out decently to kind of cool off this general living space. And then we use fans to kind of like blow the air into the living room and blow the air into the kitchen to kind of help circulate the air around. Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. Answer your question. Georgia Power charges 14 cents per kilowatt. You have a $20 surf fee just for being connected to the grid. And I used 285 kilowatts of power last month, which is about 9 kilowatts daily. Yeah, that makes sense. And about 14 to 16 cents is what most people pay here. So that's very comparable. On the road heading through Pennsylvania, hey, people have no idea how good they have it. Try living on the road for months at a time. Try figuring out where to stay at night and how to get your power. Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting life to live. It's funny because I watch Mountain Men, and I've been watching that a lot lately. I watch it all the time, but I've been watching it a lot lately because I've been kind of trying to bang through the seasons on the History channel, the History app on Roku, so I could get to the Hulu joints, because the Hulu joints have no commercials. But then Hulu just went up on their price to like $20 for commercial-free viewing. So we probably gonna get rid of that. And truth be told, we need to get rid of like Hulu and a couple other things. But it's so hard to get rid of that stuff until you get rid of it, and then you realize you'll be okay. That's one thing about most people that is tough for me to understand, but I understand it in my own experience. But I know without a shadow of a doubt, if it push came to shove, I could kill all of that stuff, and we'll just watch Plex and YouTube and maybe like Netflix. Even though Netflix has fallen off, Netflix used to be the spot. But yeah, we need to cut me being a community kind of cat. I'd rather just like go half with somebody, but it has to be like a single person who doesn't have a whole lot of family members, because you only get so many streams at a time. And then I only want to have to worry about one like reasonable adult, and then not that adult and their kids and their grandkids, and they're giving an account to their mom and all that jazz. So if we could just get ourselves back down to about $12, and that person wants to pay $8 for commercial free, then that's lovely. But that's how my brain works. I agree, but they threatened to remove USDA approval for interstate commerce, which they technically have the authority to do. I know there's a shutdown looming. I was watching what's his name? He just went bald recently, which I can relate to. It's the guy out on the West Coast. He's like a really popular channel. Him and like Canadian Prepper. I blocked Canadian Prepper. I didn't block him, but I hid his channel because I got tired of his like content being like really like doom and gloom. I forget something. Anyway, he was talking about how and he's starting to go a little bit vague and not the the thumbnail and the title is not really, it doesn't tell you anything. So he just had a title that just says 7 days. And it's like, oh, time is now. I haven't found his videos to be like incredibly useful to me. I feel like he tries to get out of his California mindset for the people in general, but I think the California mindset is stuck in him. So when the sky is falling for California, he kind of takes that on just a little bit, not by much, but just a little bit. I feel like a little tinge of that. I don't know. I forget what the guy's name is. Let's see. Satire in cases like yours is probably useful to remember that what the parasites don't know won't hurt them. Facts. Seatbelt laws came about from insurance companies wanting deniability to claims for those not wearing their seatbelt involved in catastrophic environments. That's fair to me. Like, okay, cool. Let me pay an extra premium for the seatbelt stuff. That's interesting to know. It's always somebody who doesn't want. It's always about the coin, right? It's always about the coin. The USDA is an unconstitutional bureaucracy. Is it the bureaucracy that's the problem or the unconstitutional? Because it's like the whole idea that we can't have anything that's not constitutional is weird to me, but I don't know. Didn't want to post link from Amazon. Okay. Let me see if it came through. I mean, you could post it. It may block it, but I can probably approve it in my main. Yeah, I don't see anything. Go ahead and try it. See if Mama YouTube City Prepper. Thanks, LA Times. That's him. Good. That's him. I'm watching Marketplace, hoping someone lets go of one of those Medea window units for a good price. Yeah, I see those here in my market from time to time, but I don't need an air conditioner to justify just buying another one because it has that stuff. And I'm a little leery about the installation process, to be honest, but some people say it's kind of difficult to install. And I think difficult is compared to a normal window unit. And then some people are like, it's the easiest thing they ever did. But some people are more savvy than others. Like people just like, yeah, I need to throw an air conditioner bracket underneath it. So I'll just go get my mason bits and go to work. I ain't that guy. I like people who have tools and stuff like that because they get out in the yard and do it. That's not me, man. That's not me. Eustace is cool to watch on the mountain, man. Yeah, I'm in season 6. I like Eustace. I'm in season 6, I believe. Now season 7. But his homeboy passed away. I was like, dang, that sucked. I don't, man, I make no apologies for spoiling it for people. But he's probably my favorite on the show. I like Tom too, the old head. Tom is a cool cat. The new dudes are just like, they're cool, but they're like, Yep, just canceled my Hulu 3 days ago. I'm going back to sailing. Sailing the seven seas. Listen, man, if you wanted to super cop up together and do this Hulu thing, I feel like it's just you and your girl. I could live with that because we got like a main profile, and then I have a secondary profile, but that's pretty much it. So if you wanna, yeah, I mean, we could figure something out. But if you're gonna sell them seeds, then I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad at that. His titles are bad. Yeah, it's just not. It's not useful. Basically, just tried to simplify my life. Living under $1,000 a month and seeing the sites most are never able to see. That's a man. My thing with the van life is I really want somebody to create a vehicle that's made for that. That doesn't suck. Um, there was something that seemed like it, but it was like a concept. But it's just like people who got to take the box truck and then you got to take the van and you got to account for the wheels. It's like, can we not figure out something for people to be able to be in that's of a decent quality that is made for that they don't have to make into a thing to live in? I just feel like that's so American to me, to keep it a buck, to like just like, man, I'm just gonna live in my car. And you got these cities that are not friendly. That's another thing that it's like, I get it. Some people are cuckoo, they're crazy. But I feel like it's funny because it's like you almost can't come out with a smart way to govern people, because the government will always figure out a way to abuse the situation. But where I was going with that is figuring out a way to be like, okay, these people, it's kind of like if you have a good driving record with insurance. Okay, you have a good driving record, you pay a little bit less for your insurance. I know that's a State Farm thing, but it's like, look, you've been in our Walmart parking lots, you've been in our Cracker Barrel parking lots, you've been in hospital and hotel parking lots, maybe even some businesses. We've never had any complaints from you for the last like 6 to 12 months. You know what? You good. We're not gonna hassle you. You gotta like stay where you pretty much want to stay, kind of past. Like, leave them folks alone. Good people out there living in their vans, dumping their waste, doing what they're supposed to do, not causing nobody no problems, being considerate. I feel like, man, that's so American to be able to just like go and hang out somewhere and enjoy the sights in your little vehicle. I just think that that's dope. But no, you got the crazy people who be in parking lots for months, they're yelling and being loud. I'm just like, yo, you out of here, fam. Your license plate is tagged. I got you. You are not welcome here. Deuces. You know what I mean? It's just like the good always has to suffer for the bad. And our teacher's been telling us that since we've been in school. And I never agree with that. I'm like, you could keep that to yourself. I ain't about to suffer for nobody else. Oh, you want me to come back to detention? I ain't coming. Sorry. My 7th period got to put me in detention. Anybody else put me in detention for something I ain't do, I ain't coming back. Now, if I did it, I take my charge. That's how I'm built. I had a Spanish teacher who she would say, Ivan, did you do your homework? And I'm like, nah. She was like, well, you gonna get a goose egg. And I'm like, all right, I'll take my goose egg. Oh, okay, I'm cool with that. This is like conversation over. Threat complete. Transaction good. What's up, Stacks? What's happening, my man? All right, let's see. Most of these cats are beyond ridiculous. Nothing ever becomes of the constant warnings, but viewers love that doom and gloom. Yeah, I personally stopped watching City Prepper because I feel like everything he would warn about wouldn't materialize for me. Now, he was talking about the shutdown and he was like, yeah, you may feel like it doesn't impact you, so you shouldn't care. And it's like, it's not that it doesn't impact me and I shouldn't care. Um, I can only care so much though. I mean, I have a it's like I tell people all the time, I understand why people don't vote. I get it. Cause I had a stint where I was into politics, and not personally like wanting to run or anything like that, but I followed it kind of vehemently. Um, and it's just like, man, it gets to be a bit much. And you're just like, what are we doing here? And so I always be like, man, I understand why people feel like they don't want to vote. It's like I be following this stuff, and sometimes I feel I don't care about voting. It's just like, so I feel like I'm only one person. Now, if people want to get together and collab and we want to try and figure something out and try and come up with some solutions, some guiding principles, I'm for that all day. But it's like, how can I mean, the government's going to shut down. What am I supposed to do? Y'all ninjas who represent us, who's supposed to represent us, feel like it's feasible to shut the government down. What am I supposed to do? I got no answers. I can't get riled up about that. I still got to figure out how to take care of me and my family and those connected to us. All right, all right, all right. Yeah, but RVs suck. Even when they're expensive, they suck. Like people, I consume this content. I don't consume it now as much, but every now and then you get those people who be honest about what it's like to own an RV and how cheaply they're made and how poorly they're made and how you're gonna have to deal with leaks eventually and how you're gonna have to deal with things breaking and you having to fix it yourself. And it's just like I I'm not into that, fam. Like, nah, nah. Indeed, if they aren't violating anyone's rights, the parasites have nothing to do and need to back off. Yeah, listen, I'm with it. It would be totally surprised. You'd be totally surprised. I'm not sure how many people live in their vans and automobiles that you see every day and every week while driving around. We just blend in with society. God bless you. Do your thing quietly, and you know what I mean, like just you know, God bless you. There are many places to overnight for free. There's an app for locations. I don't know how it is nowadays that lets stuff more freedom living the van life. Yeah. There's a bunch of there's quite a few apps that these people talk about where they use to kind of stay places and stuff like that. Good evening, I from sunny Southern California. What's up, John? What's happening? Good to see you hanging out with me for a little bit. The constitutional thing is silly. Fed can do specific things. Everything else is for the states. Problem is they bribe the states to let them do extra stuff they weren't explicitly allowed to do. Yeah, the money. They people want that money, so you get them to you can lots of van life plans on how to build something so it looks like a construction truck, hide in plain sight, urban camping. Yeah, that's what's up. I dig it. I feel like if there was a system by which, because I can be kind to people sparingly, I would absolutely let somebody like pull up in my driveway and stay for a night if they just needed a place to stay while they were in Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? Like, but then it's like one thing I noticed. Now, this is something else that's going to shoot this completely in the foot. One thing that I noticed is that when you're kind to people, they get acclimated to that kindness real quick and then they start to feel entitled. I'm not saying that that's the same for a lot of people or that's the thing for a lot of people, but it's just like, man, you got to be real cautious. There was a situation with with some folk I know where these people house had burned down and she was in real estate and she offered them a place to stay, and those people were their very best selves when they were in that struggle and when that kindness was being bestowed upon them. But when I tell you, when it was time to get them out of that house and to deal with like starting to exchange some currency, them true colors showed up real quick. So it's just like, and that's where you get into a situation where um because we are a law abiding society and we deal with this idea of like if the law is not on the books then there's no way to enforce it, there's no way. I just feel like it's a recipe for disaster. Have y'all seen these stories where these people like go into people's houses and they live there now and then these people can't get them out of the house? That boggles my mind. It boggles my mind because it's like the enforcement arm of the law can't do anything that's not on the books, that's not written down. And that's just so crazy to me. But I understand how people would abuse it if they were given kind of carte blanche. I think I'm using that right, to like do what they wanted to do. It's an interesting dynamic we have here in this society. Like, you ever see those people who they interact with the police and they're filming them and they have these like drawdowns, like not with guns, but they have these like drawdowns with them where it's like, I'm not going anywhere. Um uh I'm filming under my constitutional right. And it just feels very abusive to intentionally go out there and do that because then people will change the laws on you. And then now we all are in a situation where we've yielded more to the authority arm of the police where they have the ability to boss you around more. So not only can you not record them anymore, they could tell you to stop recording, they could tell you to get off. It's just like it's always fun to see them kind of like flex their knowledge and prowess against the authorities, because there is an abuse of power sometimes with the police, probably more often than not. But it just feels like, man, you don't gotta abuse it. Just use it when you need to. You ain't gotta be out here making YouTube videos about it, because then people will change the laws on you so quick. But anyway, let's see. Stealth camping and blending in. Very rarely use any type of supermarket or grocery store part. Most of us just blend in and you don't even know it there. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. What's up, family, man? Cat Eyes, how are you and the family? We are good. Callie, 804 here. First time I caught alive at this time. I love it. Good timing for me. Hey, listen, I may have to talk with the missus so we could do this. I actually just talked to her recently. I was telling her in the last like 2 or 3 weeks, like if I felt like, this is no indictment upon her, I'm gonna read the rest of your comment. But I feel like sometimes I could go live around this time, but I'm typically taking care of the kids around this time. And by the time I'm done taking care of the kids, it's like kind of late. Our kids go to bed kind of late so they can sleep in kind of late. Excuse me. We don't want kids up at 6 o'clock, so our kids go to bed late. And we could do that because they're homeschooled. So thug life. But it'd be nice to be able to do like live streams around this time, because it gives me a little more time to prep versus not prepare in terms of content, but prepare to do it so I could put the joint out there and give you guys enough time to be like notified or see it or whatever. Whereas like my typical like 6:15, that's right on the edge of me getting off from work. And then once I get off from work, I'm kind of like possibly doing other stuff. And then I don't have quite the time to sit down to bang out a thumbnail and, so on and so forth. So this time is really convenient for me, as long as I could see if she'll, swap me out and take care of the kiddos. Later evening, love your content and explains. Love your content. You explain and answer questions. I appreciate that. Like I was just maybe about a few months ago. I don't think there's many people like I enjoy my live streams. I was here, so it's not as fulfilling. But I love the casual idea of people talking about real life with solar, and just the live aspect of it. Like me and Led Farmer don't get down anymore. I don't consume his content for something that happened many moons ago, but I enjoyed, even though I wasn't necessarily learning from his content, I enjoyed just the idea of being able to just hang out with other people who were into solar like me when he was talking about solar, you know what I mean? And him talking about his farming stuff is fine too. But I miss that aspect of things, and I feel like I'm the only one that does it really. I know the guy, his name Alaskan Prepper. I think he does live streams, but I don't know. I don't follow his channel. I don't particularly favor his content. I don't like his content. I've only seen like a video or 3. I was talking with Wayne one time because he was recommending his content. I'm like, man, that dude, that's not my speed. I'm like, can you send me send me 3 of his most enjoyable videos that you've watched. And I feel like when I put it like that, he was like, yeah, I kind of can't. But I feel like Wayne just loves solar, so he just watches the guy. And I'm not necessarily like that. So that's why I like being on live, because that's why I like sharing the shorts and stuff like that. Because I enjoy the content. So I share it with people I feel like really enjoy the content. So anywho, hard to find the perfect vehicle. Sometimes I need a truck, sometimes I need a van. I wish they got better gas mileage. Yeah, I dig that. You probably get in trouble for doing that. I don't know what you mean. Give me a reference point. I'm sorry. When the comments come in, unless you say what you were talking about, I get to them a little bit later. So, I don't always know. I do my best. We ate a really early dinner, so my stomach is growling on me. Be right back. I need to get some food. Only in America. Yeah, I don't like those people. Sure, cops step over the line, but don't freaking test them. Yeah, it's just weird. I feel like you do it when you need to. You don't just keep doing it just because. Those people are trying to defend our constitutional rights. Are you talking about the people who make the videos? That's one way to look at it. It's a fair way to look at it, I guess. I can give. What's up, Sleeper? Sleeper, man, it's a late night for you. I appreciate you hanging out. That's exactly what I did. Express van with a hard hat and vest up front, and you always have that clipboard on your dashboard. Blend in, no trouble, I suppose. The FBI has been weaponized against religious protesters who pray in front of abortion clinics. We are becoming a culture of death and hope. That's interesting. The FBI has been weaponized. That is interesting. It's protesters who pray in front of abortion clinics. Alaskan Prepper, no thank you, sir. Yeah, he be the one, just like Full Spectrum Prep. I've never even heard of Full Spectrum Prepper, but Canadian Prepper I'm familiar with. He's been around for a long time. I just couldn't take those doom and gloom thumbnails anymore, so I had to bow out. One of the most satisfying things I'm finding as I start watching more and more shorts and reels and things like that is don't show me this channel. Don't recommend this content. Ah, that feels so good because sometimes I scroll up on some people and I'm just like, I get annoyed with them, like them two conservative twins. I can't stand them dudes, man. Every now and then I see something and it's like, oh, that's okay, because I'm an independent. I call myself. I was talking to my friend. He's like an extrovert version of me, like just peas in a pod. So I always joke and say you would like him a lot better, but he's a cool cat. But we are very similar. But he's a Republican, and I feel like he's a Republican just because he's anti. Um, at least that was the basis of it. But actually, I told him I was like, "You're more like an independent Republican." So I call him like a Republipendent, and I'm like a Demopendent. So we're both kind of like whatever. And sometimes I have to remind him, like, yo, you talking to Ive, because a lot of people when they start talking about politics, you gotta kind of like drill down to who they are as a real person, because the bravado of their political affiliation is what they lead with. And I always tell him, I actually have another friend I used to work with. We're more like work friends than we are personal friends. But he's kind of like on the conservative side as well. Uh, and I have to tell them all the time, like, y'all are the victim of talking to idiots. Like, because when you talk to people, you could tell they've been talking to not so bright people because they argue from a certain point of view. And it's like, well, I feel like talk to me. Don't talk to the people you was talking to all them other times, because those people were idiots. So it's like I gotta kind of work them down to who they really are, and then we start to be able to have a real conversation. And it's a lovely thing, but I just gotta work through it. And I'm just like, just stop, man, stop doing that. Just have a real conversation with me instead of these. Anyway, I don't want to keep repeating myself. I had to laugh at this one all over again. If people just stay for one night and your neighbors don't complain, it's probably fine. But you can probably get in trouble for letting people stay in your driveway. Yeah, it wouldn't be often or anything like that. It's like a need thing. Like I really struggle with the idea that certain people have to endure certain hardships simply because someone wasn't there to help them. Um, it saddens something in me that, again, I'm not trying to romanticize stuff, but you feel like you're so out of options that you have to go rob a store to get like milk and bread and diapers for your kid. That saddens me. Like the idea that $20 could keep you from messing up your whole life is like wild to me. Like you think about and I actually kind of struggle with the idea a little bit because if you saw the movie The Pursuit of Happiness, I'm just like, man, all you had to do. And not, I don't know if his life would have been different if somebody intervened. That's the kind of struggle, you know what I mean? But I don't think we should allow people to have hardships just because there may be greatness on the other side. I don't think that that's the right thing to do. But it's just like I think about that. Like, would that dude Chris Gardner be who he is if someone helped him out in those rough times? Now I know the movie is the movie, but it's just like, man, that to have to sleep in a subway bathroom or sleep on the subway, that's just crazy to me. But again, it's this situation where it's like, how do you differentiate between crazy people and people who have just fallen on hard times and just need a hand and but have the drive and the will to get up and get after it, but life can just smack you. I mean, the simple fact that, healthcare can just, like, I mean, you get sick and it could just ruin your life. That's crazy. That's bananas to me. So I kind of struggle with that. So I wouldn't necessarily be like open up to a whole thing. But if I feel like I let people know, man, um, I'm like I'll be like, man, I could give you an hour or two of my time to help you. If you need to move or something like that, I don't want to help you move. Let's not get it twisted. But if I could give you 30 minutes to an hour, that's what I got in me. I feel like anything else, I mean, it'd be a burden at that point. But I can give you something. If you need to crash in my driveway and know that people aren't going to be able to call the cops on you because you're just moving through from here to there and you don't have nowhere else to feel comfortable in the city, I wouldn't mind that. Like a 3-4 times a month. I'm okay with that. Okay, let's see. I bought the Energizer Power Station listening to Alaska Prepper. I took it back after I heard a loud pop with my freezer. Which Energizer one? The big one? Um, or the little Energizer P320? Because they had a couple models. I know Jason had some issues with his, and I think he eventually got to put the video out, but there were some problems with it. It's like a Blue Eddy style joint. Which one? I'm new to your channel, have watched a few videos, not asking you to promote other channels, but do you have a top 3 channels you like? Your title says off grid, but what percentage? Does my title say off grid? Oh, the title of the video. Yeah, I was off grid like today, and I'm going to be able to be off grid when I want to, with the exception of cooking. So the top 3 channels you like as it relates to what? Give me a little more details. It's interesting that you asked that though. What's her name? Okay, too bad. We're gonna go with that one. Because I'm not, as it relates to music, I'm not an artist kind of guy. I'm a dope song kind of guy. So I really don't. I may not be the best person to ask. You may want to ask some of the folks here who are their favorite channels to follow. But I'm not sure if you mean solar. Do you mean off grid living? Um, Things like that. I enjoy Element Van Life's content, um, but I'm not crazy about his voice, if I could just be honest. So I often watch his videos at 2x. His voice is not necessarily um, irritating. I'm not a fan of it. So I watch it at 2x so it changes the octave of his voice a little bit. But I don't really do channels. You ain't missing a thing. They make me shake my head. Anything for clicks. Yeah, that's for sure. Jeez, just saw this. I did not know you were on this morning. Oh, okay, cool. Okay. This live is live. Don't forget to smash the like for the like family. That's what's up. I appreciate that. People don't have a heart these days. Everyone for themselves, selfish, not willing to help anyone unless there's something in it for them. Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild. Learning solar channels. Okay, let me think about that. That new Titan 240 is dope. I tried to find it after you mentioned it, but I couldn't really find anything. I didn't look super hard, but I thought there would at least be something out there. But it piqued my interest for a second. Okay, channels about learning about solar. I mean, my channel is about like products and but more like practical use of those products. And then I like to make content around like I like Family Man. He actually gave me a good suggestion. It's like everyday life with solar. And one thing that I used to say before was like real life with solar, like how solar and my life interacts, not just the device and the specs and maybe a big project here and there. Like I enjoy, so Will Prouse is like the solar goat, but he's a DIY channel. I do When I was getting into solar, there wasn't a channel that was purely about real life with solar and practical situations. Like I wanted to understand, excuse me, like tips and tricks how to be smart with your solar and use your solar wisely and get the most from your system and really be able to be effective and efficient. But there wasn't that kind of content out there. So what I used to watch was I used to watch Will Prouse. I didn't fully understand all of it. I had to watch videos multiple times. I would watch Hobotech. Jason Noy is like his channel is really good, but it's product and review focused, and he has some lifestyle stuff in there from time to time. Um, Hobotech, I feel like he used to have a little bit of lifestyle stuff, but the views come from the products, so that's where a lot of channels go. So yeah, uh, I'm more so a topic guy, not a channel guy. I used to watch Liveformer 73's solar content, but as I said before, I don't really consume his content anymore. He had an issue with me. We didn't have a falling out. He had an issue with me and he blocked me. So, and when if I'm not wanted, I ain't there. Or it's just that simple. Let's see. Maybe someone will start driveway host similar to harvest host. Yeah, that's interesting. The problem you get into is when you start to try and organize something, then that's when America kind of steps in and is like, oh, hold on now. Because then there's problems that can arise. There's liability you have to assume and stuff like that. It has to just be a community thing. It's kind of like the whole Lyft and Uber thing. Like Uber, Lyft, I think Lyft was first. They come along, they disrupt the industry, and then, the government got to step in. And it's just like, but sometimes they got to step in because like the dude said in Rush Hour, greed will ruin us all. Look at all of them. You'll learn something from all of them. Yep. Will's car lift run by solar is a mind blower. Are you being facetious? Because he was having an interesting time with that. I think, what video was that? I just watched that video. Like some of the videos that he makes are just they're just over my head. I can't do a whole lot with them. Like I just recently watched the 18K all-in-one video. I was watching videos about all-in-ones recently because again, I'm trying to figure out a way to get this power into my house. So if I could have an all-in-one, that would be interesting. But I don't know if I'm ready. I watched a bunch of his videos, and sadly, I was just telling this to Setite, he's the only channel that kind of has a track record of talking about all-in-ones. A channel may have an all-in-one here or there. I think David Paz, he kind of talks about them, but he doesn't do videos regularly enough. Like I can kind of track with, Will talking about MPP and Grow Watt and then Renergy One and then EG4. And like I can kind of go back in his channel history and find things and learn from them. And then he'll have like kind of practical videos of trying to use them. like trying to use the batteryless option, which I think is really cool. I love the idea of that batteryless option. Um, that batteryless option on those all-in-one, I think the MPPs, is interesting to me purely from a charging a car perspective. It's not much power because then you have to have like big panels, but I happen to have a 600-watt folding panel. Um, and you take into account that you can go 1 mile in a Tesla for every about 350 watt hours, and then maybe a little bit less than that, then that's interesting to me. I mean, a mile is not far, but you consider that most short runs here and there, like let's say you have to, now I'm not saying this is practical or anything, but I like power and stuff from solar. That's just how I am. I love it. Any aspect of it, I could get it in until it gets to the point where it's completely useless. I'll give you an example of that in a second. Then I'm all for it. If I could get 3 miles of power because me and my wife are in the mall, or my wife is in the mall, not that she's a shopaholic, but I'm just trying to paint a picture of a place that I would go that I wouldn't be interested in going in, that she would be in, and we'd be in there for a couple hours or grocery shopping. If I could add a mile or three to my car range, I would do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat. If I'm out there like in the car, like watching a movie or working or something like that, I think that that's dope. Because my grocery store is probably like 10 minutes away. And even a 13-mile trip is probably like 45, 30 minutes away or something like that. So anyway, but I had a situation where I had a little Anchor folding panel. That was my first solar panel, contrary to what I say most times, not maliciously, but I just forget that I got that Anchor folding panel first. Because my first like legit solar panel was a 50-watt Renogy, which I still have. But that Anchor folding panel, I used to pull that thing out and I would charge battery banks, or I would charge directly into my device because I like getting the power into the device. So I would have it out on my balcony. I would run like an extra long cable. I think I even bought like a USB extension cord to get the power into my house. So even way back then, I was trying to get the power out of the sun into my house. But with me having the Bodens and being able to put a 100-watt panel out there, it's like, dude, to put that Anchor out there to get 10 watts wasn't worth it. It just wasn't. So I just stopped doing it. But I did it. I was like, man, I want all the power. I was greedy even back then with the solars. But if you could take, let's say you had two 600-watt panels folding, or like maybe three of those EcoWatt 400-watt panels, which are relatively portable, have those joints in a Tesla trunk, and then you go somewhere, let's say the family wants to go hang out at the park or something, and it was a relatively safe neighborhood because you can't just leave panels lying around. I'd totally be into doing like a batteryless situation. Now, I'm not saying this is practical because you may need a battery, but if I could get power from those panels to give me a couple extra miles on I would do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat. But I'm crazy though, so. Oh man, that's how I cut him some slack there. Oh man, same here. He blocked me also. I think I answered some questions he didn't want to answer. I never contradicted him on his own channel or elsewhere. Yeah, that's tough. The video was terrible, so low effort. I didn't agree with set title on this one. I thought the video was fine. I thought it was like a video that he always makes, but you know. I had the Mango Power Station and have mixed reviews on it. The new Apollo is the go-to now. Neither are cheap. That's interesting. It seems like you're in a very similar situation where you're just trying to pull information in about solar. And what's going to happen is you'll have to just kind of get it where you can, which is ultimately why I started this channel. Because what I had to do is I had to kind of get it where I can. So I had to watch like a person who built what are those things? An off-grid cabin. And then I had to scroll through the video to get to that solar portion because I want to know how in that off-grid cabin are you making that solar system work for you? I want to know that. That's the stuff that like, man, you see how excited I want to know that. It's like, man, I put these two cables into the wall, one up here, one downstairs. Both of my sides of my panel are lit up, and I'm only using like about 300, 350 watts. And that's like my fridge. I think my hot water heater is gas. I hope you guys enjoy the video because I enjoy like going through the process. I think it's gonna be interesting. So I'm gonna get on that. If I don't do it tonight, I'm gonna do it tomorrow for sure. But my lamps, like being able to turn on my lights and to see that, because I did replace our over the counter lights that my wife likes to use. I wonder why she didn't come back downstairs. I wonder if she's still putting the kids down. Because I kind of want to see if she's going to jump in on the live. I want to do a live with her soon if she doesn't come down here and jump on this one. But I replaced those light bulbs finally because they used to use a ton of power. I mean, like 100. I think a bulb itself was probably like 60 or 40 watts or something crazy. So I replaced them, and now they only use about maybe like 10 to 15, I believe. So to be able to go to my situation where it's like, okay, well, right now I'm at 167. Let me go turn the ceiling fan on. Okay, my ceiling fan uses about 40 watts, 50 watts. And to be able to know that is crucial. What's happening?
Hey.
You gonna come sit down for a second?
Yeah.
In your bathrobe?
Huh?
In your bathrobe?
I got a regular shirt on.
Yeah, but you're in a bathrobe.
Well, it's not a bathrobe. It's a robe. A bathrobe is for when you.
Is there a
gotten
difference?
out of the bath. I think so. A bathrobe is for when you've gotten out of the bath and you're,
What
this
y'all
is
think? Is
a
this
robe. Hey.
is this a robe or a
This is a
bathrobe?
robe. Like
I
this
feel like it's that terry cloth stuff that's supposed to be for water, right? Oh no, am I
No.
tripping?
Yeah.
Can you give me some juice first? Thank you. You are loved. You are appreciated. But my mouth, I'm doing it for your benefit because my mouth is dry, so my breath may not be the most pleasantest. I've been talking with no water for a while. Let's see. I like try. Oh, what I was trying to say is, basically, you're just gonna have to consume content to kind of pick up tips and tricks where you can. Oh, Minuteman Prep's channel is cool, but I'm if I'm interested in a video, I'll watch. I'm subscribed to his channel.
What's up? What's up, guys?
The missus.
Super late. It's like 11:40. Finally got them kids down.
How did that go?
It was easy. Yeah, it really was.
Cat Eyes say she likes this time to have the lives.
Yeah, you know what? It actually is kind of cool. Hey, Cat Eyes. I think it is kind of cool. I mean, outside of me having to be the one taking care of nighttime routine, outside of that part.
Exactly.
Every time I watch the babies, I be thinking like, this is so easy. You know?
Do I be complaining about it?
No, but she does. Like she's always whining and stuff like that with you, and it just she never whines with me.
Oh, she don't whine during bath time. She don't necessarily be happy about me brushing her teeth.
Yeah.
But bath time is not
true.
a whiny affair.
She doesn't. I mean, it's like it's not a. Yeah, I feel like I've heard her whine quite a lot, just like throughout the time y'all are upstairs. She'd be chilling with me.
I think you got old reference points, but that's fine. What am I going to do? Sometimes her reference points is old, and I can't shake it off of her. She's just like, yeah, but I heard her in 1992, and she was crying. So, and she cried for a couple nights straight. So you a bad father, basically. So you suck. Thug life. I'm exaggerating, obviously.
What y'all chopping up about?
I don't. I was talking.
it was cool having everything on solar today, besides the stove not being in use and having to wait for that.
Why was that cool?
Because like I didn't feel like I was missing a beat. Like I didn't know. Like it dawned on me whenever I look on the stove and the clock wasn't on. I was like, oh snap, we're on solar, And we were able to still function. We used the air fryer and everything. It was like just super cool. Like it didn't like we didn't miss a beat.
Dell's becoming a believer.
Yeah, I am.
Which is why I wanted to have her on.
I really am. And I mean, I think for me, like it also made me think about the bill. You know what I mean? Like looking forward to, decreasing it in a more substantial way. So I'm looking forward to that. Like what was the math? Like hypothetically, like 76-cent days, like 20 days, out of a month versus, $3 a day. You know what I mean? It's just like that. I can get behind that. I can get behind that. This wasn't the case, however long ago. You know what I mean? When we was just saving like literally pennies, and he kept saying, "Well, they're my pennies." Like, oh yeah. But now it feels worth it.
Let's see. I'm gonna scroll down and see what some of the newer comments are, just so you could entertain the foolishness. Stacks. It's solar powered microwave chicken. Get it right, fam.
You know what? When my mother-in-law came up to hang out with us, she was over for a week, and it was amazing. And I learned that she cooks in the microwave. And
what did she do? She said she did in the microwave.
She cooks. Like she cooks in the microwave. She was having a conversation with my mom.
I kind of heard that, but I wasn't sure. I can't remember what she said.
It runs in the family, y'all.
I don't think that's where I get it from, but okay.
I was so shocked.
I wish I could think of what it was.
I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, I just was not expecting. I mean, because his mom cooked, like she cooked. You know what I mean? Like she cooks, she throws down, and so to know that every now and then she cooks in the microwave, I was just like, me and my mom was like, "Huh?"
That's deep.
Yeah. So every time, I love that. That is just such a running theme. Who was that again?
Stacks.
I appreciate how you always makes me think of my bro Eichmann. We have this running joke with Ivan and like it's an insider, so it's not gonna be funny to y'all. But
it's not funny, period. But they're extroverts. So somebody said earlier, like extroverts are sus. Just keep it a buck.
Who said that? Who said that?
They shall not be revealed.
Who said that? Who said it? Show yourself. Show yourself.
Maintain your anonymity.
We are amazing.
Okay. Y'all something.
And I always like every time I come across introverts, it's like I literally like fall in love immediately because of the understanding that I have, because Ivan, and having an appreciation for who and how he is as a result of as it relates to his temperament. And so people are like, their eyes get big when I start mentioning, and like being able to give them language that they never really had to be able to articulate how they feel and how they are without the negative words. You know what I mean? Like being able to talk about them being, oh yeah, I mean, you just don't like rocking with, big crowds, and you don't really like small talk, or you prefer, valuable conversation with people of quality and stuff like that. And they'd be like, exactly. It's like it's really cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I'll be talking about Susan Cain. Like, you need to get that book. Go on Amazon, get that book Quiet, Susan Cain, because.
Did you get the book, MJ? MJ was stunting like she was going to get it.
Oh yeah, did you get it? MJ?
Did you get it? I can't go down to the bottom. My brain don't work that way, so I got to go back up.
That's so whack.
Hey.
Then it's gonna be all old.
Yep.
Like we're in the moment.
Sorry. Based on the description you've given, it sounds like you have enough panels and batteries to build a truly off-grid system with just a little tinkering and DIY. You may have to make a cable or two, but I did it today with 2 cables I bought off the internet. So why do I got to do all this other stuff y'all be talking about?
That's the conversation we're having. I mean, like, it feels like there's a back and forth.
No. Like this is what we talking about.
I mean, I just felt like there was like some.
Nah, not at all, not at all. Well, I mean, Setai always wants me to DIY stuff, but it's just like, why am I going to DIY when what I have works? It's hard to explain that to people, but I was just explaining in the last live. It's like, man, I like to think I'm a good father, and it's like I'm not like the activity father, but I'm present. You know what I mean? It's like I don't be having time to just be outside on Saturday, just out there, just building stuff. I don't value it that much.
You could. It's all about how you.
Of course, everybody has the same amount of time. I could, but it's like I ain't.
It's like if you wanted to.
I ain't about to be out there doing that.
Because all the time you be taking, running around the house, literally walking around the house. It feels like it's unending. The number of times you walk around the house, on the inside, down in the garage, moving stuff around, carrying these. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like I gotta make my situation work.
Mm-hmm. You can bottle all of that time into one set amount of time
to do a project that may or may not save me time.
True. I mean, you're not a hammer and nails and build and install and you're not that kind of dude.
Nah, never.
Like,
charge.
I'm the DIYer in the house.
Yeah, I ain't doing none of that. Oh, somebody gave us some coinage.
Hey, that's for me.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see.
Thank you.
Let's see. And Will Prowse explains, well, and some things will go over your head only because we haven't gotten there yet. That's why some things you have to watch over and over to get it. I agree. I had to watch a ton of Will's videos over and over again.
I like Will. He's cool.
Yeah, I like Will too. Will also edits the videos weird. I try to use his videos to confirm my EG4 wiring, but he skips stuff like that. He skips wiring on his mini split videos too. Yeah, I guess you the person that's gonna go out there and do it. I dig it. Why you would benefit from that, but I don't necessarily want to know how to do it. I'm interested in the concept.
So how do you learn how to do the thing?
I don't know, because I don't be out here doing it. So I see why Setai is like, show me how to do it. I'll be like, I don't want to see that. I was actually just talking with Setai about this channel. I may have even vented to you. It's Engineer 777. This dude's thumbnails and his titles are so intriguing and so good, and his videos are so boring. They're so boring. And he was like, yeah, well, he's an installer, but I feel like he could do a better job. It's just like, man, and he sent me a video and I was looking at it, and before I knew who it was, it's like he rickrolled me. Before I knew who it was, I looked at it, I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, and I get it, and it's 777. I'm like, son of a Trump. Jeez. And I was just like, I lasted all of like 2 minutes. I was like, dude, I can't do this. He'd just be standing in somebody's backyard like, yeah, so we got the tractor and the tire went flat. So we had to, I'm like, what the heck are you talking about, man? What are you talking about?
Like, of all people, you're pretty like easygoing when it comes to watching people's content, just to be able to get from them what you're looking for.
But I have my standards. I have standards. I don't know. I don't. I can only 2x so much. It's just like, no, but I also got burned. I got burned with him so much because his thumbnails be so intriguing. It'll be like this beautiful, like, 12 kilowatt system, and it's like they're off grid now, and then he will just be walking up a dirt path like, yeah, I brought my truck in, and it's an undisclosed location. I was like, what are you talk about the panels, man? It's like, we got this black magic system in here, and it could pull in, and the wires are
I see what you're saying.
But again, I'm not going to do the work. I just want to know how the stuff impacts the people's lives. I don't want to know how you know what I mean? It's like, anyway, thug life. So, all right, let's see what these comments. You read some of the comments, because I don't like moving forward like this. I have to finish Dell's book first. Yeah, Dell's book is great. It's
Wait, who's that?
fantastic. That's MJ.
Hey.
I found
Yeah.
myself reading it and I have to put it down because there's so much to like chew on in it. It's just like, man, I gotta sit with that. And that's how I do any good book. It's just like, man, I gotta dang.
Oh, thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
working on the journal.
And but I wouldn't lie to anybody. So you ever seen, I think we talked about it. You ever seen those videos of them people, the women, they be recording and they cook food and they make it super salty on purpose just to see if their dude will lie to them? And I'm just like, y'all are so weak. Because they be like, yeah, it's good, babe. I'm just like, that ain't gonna happen over here.
For real.
Nah, that's salty, man. What
Like,
all
that
this
is-
salt in
like,
here?
everything about that is just super foul.
Let's see. See, I don't know how to make sense of going down to just the most recent video, that most recent comments. Fresh chicken. That's what he gave us the $5 for.
Right from Aldi.
Boom.
Right from Aldi.
Done. It's in my cart. I'm gonna get it eventually. I'm telling you, get it from the library. I hope it's in your library cart because you can get it there.
What?
Is your other half, Dell, able to calm you down when you're trying to go off half cocked? You gotta explain those words to me. I don't know what that means. Half cocked. Give me a put some urban on it. I don't know what that means. I can deduce, but I'm not a go off, calm down kind of person. I'm always calm, and I try to stay there because I don't want to get turned. And says she love your hair. What did you see?
Oh, thank you. I was like going into like, man, it's kind of like a pumpkin spice, but you know, who likes pumpkin spice?
I'm gonna stay away from that one. That's like a trap. Like, gotcha. Walk right into that one.
But thank you. I like how it turned out. I colored it for who was going on. I was going to a sticker ball, gala, and I needed to color it, so it just was like, oh wow, this is interesting.
Okay, so the Apollo is the one that lift Will's car on the lift. Okay, cool. I gotcha. Okay, yeah. I was watching that video.
Oh, you're losing people.
Well, that's cool. I don't mind that. Apollo is the one that was used to electrocute people, but they say they fixed it. Yeah, he didn't find any live connections on there. Let's see. Yeah, that unit does look good. I think it's overpriced, but it's impressive. I'd love a split phase joint for power. Minuteman Prep has it also. Right, yeah. So I forget who was looking for channels. Minuteman Prep, I mentioned him. Absolutely love these later in the evening live streams, my friend. Good night. God bless. So he's one of the guys who left. He said goodbye. He didn't just dip because you came on and started messing stuff up.
True.
Oh, it's not actually split phase. Oh, interesting. A robe is a robe.
I'm not quite sure where you're going with that.
I was going to ask the wife if she's interested in solar. She's very smart. No, she's not interested in solar.
I'm getting there. I mean, I'm not interested in it because of the work that it would require for me to learn it and understand it. And I just don't have the mental or emotional capacity for it, you know what I mean, because of how full my own plate is. But
that right there. That's the point. There are lots of channels I don't like, but they will have a useful video. That's kind of how I rock. It's like I don't rock with channels.
I don't have the capacity for it. I don't have the patience to be like.
Yeah, Zendor. People have. I think LA. You have that Zendor, right? It has 240 built in. I don't even know how that would work. Night jackets. You have to work. I swear, women will say anything to help other women. Night jacket. Get out of here. I was trying to make it funny. I had a friend I grew up with. He would say, "Oh, you trying to crack a funny, huh? You trying to crack a funny." What are your thoughts about the 1,000-watt City battery box for $169? I'm not a DIY guy, so those battery boxes are ugly to me. I haven't found one that looked cool and was utilitarian enough for me to entertain it. It had some shortcomings in it where I was just like, okay, I'll just hook up a inverter to a battery. I don't need a fancy battery box. I have power stations, so it's just like they're cleaned up nice. But if you want something budget with those features, I mean, you even got Dr. Prepare who has the stuff built into the battery. But battery box, I don't know. I saw Iridium, IRIDIUM 24, I believe. He makes content. My issue with like some of these content creators is I can't consistently rely upon them to give me the information that I want. That's my thing. Um, you can go Hobotech, Jason. Will is actually the best example of what I like to see in a video. And not some of his more recent videos, but if you look at his like EB 150, 240, his EcoFlow reviews, he talks about the features and he talks about the implications of those features and how he feels about those features. That's kind of like my thing. And I didn't necessarily bite that from him, but I realized after a while that I like a mix of features, a little bit of testing, not much, but I like the thoughtfulness behind. Well, if you have this, how is that going to impact how you use it? So you either have, you got Hobotech, Jasonor, and Re-Ray something. It's hard to say his. You would think it would be Reway, but I think it has a W in there somewhere, and it makes it weird. But it might just be Reway Outdoors. They're like very like testing heavy. To keep it a buck with you, Hobotech and his group called out Reway for copying him. And I was looking at it, I was like, oh, he does actually.
Nobody copy nobody. You do what you want to do. And if it happens to be similar to somebody else, and it's just similar to somebody else.
No, he's copying him. He is. I think he is. I don't know if he has any shame in it. I don't know if he does it on purpose. I don't know if it's a means to an end, but he lays out his stuff just like Hobotech lays out his stuff.
And so
Hobotech said he does. He didn't. I mean, I don't know how Hobotech feels about it, but it's like,
what's the problem? What's the issue? Not to you, but like if I was talking to him, I'd be asking him, okay, well, what's the issue with that?
Some people feel like be original. Don't just come out here doing what I do.
I mean, I agree. Yeah, be original, but I also feel like, well, what you do works for me too, so I'm going to do it too.
I just feel foul.
And just kind of customize it to suit and fit you.
I guess. I was too. He wore a smoking jacket. But night jacket sounds like something he might wear. That's true. Do you have links to show your system? Curious to how you tied into your house electrical system. What I'm going to do is when I throw together the video in a quick edit, I'm going to put an unlisted link. Yeah, I know, right?
That's cool.
I just said too bad because, I'm a prude.
I don't think damn is a bad word.
It's not.
Like damn, pissed.
It's leftover remnants from how I was parented because I wouldn't say those words around my parents.
See, I think I feel like damn it versus God damn it. I don't know. I feel like there's something different when you add the gat, and it's GAT, not GOD.
I don't know, but she's a savage, so.
No, I mean, I feel like damn, pissed. I think those are okay.
You think you should say those around your kids? The plot thickens.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have. I think it's just a matter of like not wanting them to say it.
And there's the rub.
Yeah, sure.
There's the rub.
But if they did in a point of like true frustration, it's like I would understand.
You would understand, but that don't make it okay. Anyway, I don't want to get stuck there because we made the point. Now, I'm gonna put an unlisted video when it's done on this video.
But you're missing an O though.
That's correct.
Because I'm trying to figure out maybe is it. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
Okay. Practical Gadgeteer has a Licity box.
The city is it's too close.
To what?
A
Never.
woman. A woman.
Oh, interesting. That's
I
interesting.
just keep saying itty.
Yes, you do. Oh, okay. It's in my card. What she said. Yes, you do. What she said. I have to finish Zelle's book. Okay, we talked about that. Said. That's what I'm saying. The way he does things sounds so tedious, moving power stations around every day. It is tedious. It's work, but it's a means to an end.
But you seem like you do not mind. You
Nah,
do it
man.
consistently and
I'll do
faithfully.
what I gotta do to get this money. They're pennies, but they my pennies. You know what I mean? That's literally how I feel. Solar has become a bit of an addiction. It ain't a bit. Don't downplay it. It's an addiction. Welcome to the party. Started with 12-volt 100 amp hour batteries, now 48-volt rack mounted, started into solar generators or power stations. House is full of stuff. Need to sell some stuff soon. Are you married?
I want to know what's the story behind your name, because in my mind I figure like you're the kind of person, male or female.
I don't know. I would assume male.
I imagine a guy that just always, well, that's just too damn bad. That's just too damn bad. Well, that's just too damn bad. It's like just that. Feel like that's a some of a way of life to just be like, man, whatever, it's too damn bad.
Absolutely, this is true. She's an extrovert, man. You know, like somebody said earlier, they sus. You know what? I figured out. I had a revelation. You know how people say people are idiots or ignorant, and just in terms of like not being able to trust people to do what it is they're supposed to do. Like you don't tell them, well, don't wear the mask. You got to tell them to wear the mask because
you don't trust them to just do the right thing.
it's extroverts that are the problem. I think extroverts are the
I feel
issue.
like introverts, y'all are the ones who are stubborn. Like y'all have your own thoughts.
Yeah, but we home.
Let me think of a comeback,
because you know how you got to tell people, okay, don't put the air conditioner on the extension cord.
It's not that you can't. It's just.
But I just feel like y'all just do stuff and y'all don't think about it. So you got to tell you, oh no, don't do that. You know what I mean? Because don't buy the 70-inch TV because it's not gonna fit in your car.
I mean, I do think y'all are more thoughtful, generally speaking. Of course,
Broad brush.
Broad brush. You know, y'all are more thoughtful. I feel like y'all are the thinkers and we are the doers, and so of course we're a good balance for each other. Y'all will observe and we interact and engage. You know,
so I feel like when people put rules into place to try and keep people safe, they're really trying to keep y'all safe.
I don't know about that.
You know that makes sense.
I don't know. I'm thinking about like kids. You know, like our kids. You know, it's.
Yeah, but they're kids. That's a given. We all trying to keep the kids safe because they're all idiots.
Kids are idiots.
Just they don't know nothing. They are literally ignorant. I saw a video today, and that video was like in the dictionary. I don't know if they were trolling us, but in the dictionary, they say literally. They literally say literally means figuratively. It's like society has taken over so much. These weird people who use literally wrong. Like I literally died yesterday, and it's like, no, you didn't. That's not how that word works. So in the dictionary, literally, I don't know if it's the dictionary, but it's just like an interesting video. I'm gonna send it to you, but it was wild.
Mankind just
devolving.
At least I can't say mankind because I'm talking about the mankind in U.S. because I don't know what everybody else is doing, but the decline is real.
The battery box is cool, but by the time you buy the box and the battery, how much are you saving? You save.
How do you say that name?
LA Times. That's how I say it.
Okay. All right.
I really like all of Will's videos. He explains really well.
Yeah, he does.
I always thought damn was a bad word. I wouldn't say it at work.
Man, up here in Pittsburgh, like
This is all a bunch of children who couldn't wait to cuss. So
during
that's
this
all they
time,
do.
I don't know what it is, but when I came up here to Pittsburgh,
Dagnabbit is better. That's another one. Like, gotcha. I'm gonna stay away from that one.
It's like that's just too much.
dang it.
Dang,
You're off the chain.
But I could hear they saying that though. I like literally hear your voice saying that.
I never considered damn bad growing up, just
like
improper.
That. Yeah,
but not a cash word.
Yeah, improper.
Yeah, that's
could be
fair.
Inappropriate. I don't know. I mean, I feel like for me, curse words should only be like if you are a cusser, you know, should only be natural when you're like in a state of like, you know, I mean, heightened of heightened emotion. Like I don't recall ever feeling. Well, I don't know. This is I'd have to think about BC because I cussed BC
before Christ.
Mm-hmm. But I don't remember because I've just not cursed for so long, for you know, since my whole life as a believer, and that's what, over 20 years now. So I don't know. It seems weird to just like casual, regular conversation to just be laced with just profanity. But it's just weird for me, you know. What was the reason for it? I don't know, because this effort and like you would typically be like there's a heightened emotion around that, you know. But people are profane even in like light moments.
I want to throw somebody under the bus, but she shall not be thrown under the bus. But she is a cusser and she knows who she is. Archie said, okay. And he says, I respect the hustle and solar addiction, honestly. I appreciate that. I don't know. I'm almost 70. I'm chasing the sun like you won't believe. Until I figure it out, I'll probably stop bringing in the 360s in every day after the last drop in the sun. Yep, you settling right in. You're settling in fine. It's like the new panels. Let's bring them in. Somebody gonna take them, and then next thing you know, they're out there. They're just out there getting it popping. If they aren't foldable, they are foldable. That's the problem. They are, but you could still leave them outside. I think the EcoFlows are waterproof and weatherproof. I had my issue with them. Ali Jojo Place. What's happening? It's been a while. I've had my issue with the Renogy fold. Renogy. I always want to say Renogy, the EcoFlow folding panel, but they replaced it, and then the one they sent me, I sold. Have you seen the Inner Power solar panel? I think I have. It transforms from a solar power into an actual table. Yeah, Playing with Sticks did a video on it that was pretty interesting. I think Reway may have done one as well. I'm not sure. Let's see what else. The actual table is pretty sturdy. It has a sun meter adjustment. I was worried about those angles, I believe, on that joint, but it was cool.
Yeah.
It's so correct.
Whatever you're talking about, yeah.
That's because linguists think all language is valid, even if it is wrong, so they put it in the dictionary. Okay. Fair enough. Name is based off being told. It's 2. The second O caused a problem with the YouTube.
Okay.
Yes, I am married to a forgiving woman. She has her craft room. I have my solar basement. There you go. I got cool. You. That's why I'll use an expression like when the shibit hits the for ban. I've seen you do that. I stay clear of cussing people.
Yeah.
I've noticed that. I don't know which is which, but I like to differentiate between people who cuss and people who are profane. One is worse than the other. Some people, they willed it in a certain way. And then some people, it's just like, it's very off-putting and I don't like to hear it. Yeah. What I really can't stand is people who don't sound good cussing. It's like, you sound weird. Just stop. You just
Like Kevin Hart.
He sounds awful when he
Yeah.
cusses. And I'm just like, dude,
I don't
you don't
understand
have to
why.
do that.
Yeah, he really doesn't. It's like he's so much more enjoyable just talking regular.
Yeah,
It
it's
feels like,
terrible.
yeah.
I made a whole.
My biggest thing is when
I don't like Kevin Hart. Let me put that out
I
there.
love Kevin Hart though. That's my guy.
Freaking extroverts, right? What you gonna do?
I dislike when someone is getting comfortable with you and then they start like being profane and cussing a little bit, trying to kind of test the waters to see if
That's interesting.
if you'll do the same,
The
or
testing the
if
waters
you'll,
aspect.
yeah, or if you'll kind of let down your hair a little bit. And it's like, no, I don't cuss. You're not gonna get that out of me.
Yeah. What is that?
Talkie.
I don't know. That's some culture aspect I don't get. It's getting close to what I want in solar, but I'm content with what I have now. I'm getting close. I got you. That's what's up. I covered them with camouflage tarp. That's smart. That's very smart, actually. That's really smart. I like that idea a lot. I like that sun chaser. That could be a nickname for people who rock with solar in the way we rock with solar.
Yeah,
sun chasers. I like it.
Something.
That's interesting. You went very poetic on me.
I know. Hold on. Remember this. Nothing in life will call upon us to be more courageous than facing the fact that it ends. But on the other side of heartbreak is wisdom.
That's interesting.
That is, yeah.
I'm not gonna go there. That's for sure.
What?
I don't want to delve into that. You mean people who don't even know how to? Yes, I don't like him either because it's too much. Who?
Kevin Hart.
Oh, Kevin. Yeah, it's so unnatural
I'm
too.
assuming.
Yeah, I don't think he's funny to me. He's not funny to me. I don't like his self-deprecating act. I just feel like he's funnier than that, than to always be making fun of himself.
That used to be his comedy. He's funny.
Still using my foldable 200 watt. I actually have an all powers 200 watt that is filthy.
You too?
But it needs to be
he was accused of stealing Cat Williams material. Which again, I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I think he was like, yeah, you very often don't go to a show, and you may have people who go to a show and then watch it, and you can't. I feel like he was kind of like on that angle, like you can't really know what they grabbed that was original and what they came up with that came from somebody else. I feel like that feels familiar.
I don't know. I'm really big on the whole copying me. I get it, but I don't feel like there's anything wrong with being inspired by something, being inspired by somebody else's joke or being inspired by somebody else's story, and turning it around and customizing it.
I just feel like you go to the most reasonable example when life is rarely that. I feel like they didn't accuse him of being inspired. They accuse him of copying and stealing people's jokes.
People be in their feelings, and people are, he was like really, really rising, and I don't know. I don't imagine that he was like plagiarizing other people's jokes to the extent that you could, claim that he's like stealing people's material.
So on Trevor Noah,
I love Trevor Noah.
I can't figure out if I like Trevor Noah when he is not trying to be funny or when he's trying to be funny. He has a weirdness to him that I sense very often, where it feels like to me when he's trying to be funny, he's not funny to me. I feel like when he's himself, he's thoughtful, he's insightful, he's humorous. I like that more than when he's trying to be funny and forcing himself to laugh. It just feels awkward. So I'm just like,
I like Trevor Noah.
I like him too.
What you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying, but I love Trevor. I feel like he is very, very nuanced. He is definitely one who grabs the spectrums and make the spectrums clash in the middle. I love his perspective and his vantage point as a biracial person, from Africa. It just how his world is such a beautiful like collision of ethnicity, culture, race, all the things, and being like truly African, and then his view and vantage point, being over here in America, and so like his view, it just I love him, I do. And he seemed like such a good guy. You know what I mean? Like he means well, he intends well, he's thoughtful, he's objective, he's fair, he's reasonable. You know, he's a good dude.
Most times, sometimes. When you get into that Daily Show bubble, you almost can't help yourself but to be like left leaning.
Yeah, I don't recall. I didn't watch the Daily Show.
Me either. That's why I don't.
I'm mainly, like his interviews or like the questions, like his clips and stuff like that of him answering questions.
Gotcha.
Conversations.
See, that to me, that's the real person.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? Who I like a little bit better than the personality.
Yeah.
Satite says, good pronunciation, Dell. The end of the world as we know it, similar to. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Jeez, that's what a way to say the end of the world as we know it. That's some AOL chat room type stuff. Like, man. Like I always struggle with AFAIK, and I'm just like, what does that mean? And I have to sit there for a little bit. It's like, as far as I know.
Oh.
But the end of the world as we know it. Fair enough. I don't know what that is, but it's funny. Everything is copied. There's nothing new under the sun. No pun intended. Pun deserved.
Ecclesiastes.
Maybe. Copying is weird. One time in high school, I thought I came up with a guitar riff, and a friend showed me a song I didn't remember hearing that was the exact same. I probably heard someone play it. Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe, but maybe not.
I get it 100%. That happens. Jokes are like lyrics. Either you penned it, bid it, or you have a ghostwriter. That's a fair point.
Okay.
Break it down. Yes. Break what down? Ain't nobody breaking nothing down. Who's breaking stuff down? So, in closing, because I don't have nothing else to talk about. I wanted to know. Oh, I have a video I'm gonna put out soon. I don't even mean to lead this up. I have a video I want to put out soon. What has it been like to have those 2 panels out in the front yard?
Unnoticeable. Only because we haven't been out there.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, we haven't been out there, so it's been nothing.
She be disrespecting my power station upstairs by not using it. And I'm just like, dude.
Like one time.
It's happened a couple times. I feel like you haven't been using it lately.
Once a week,
You haven't been using it lately. I'm just like, dude,
the more
man?
I understand what I need to do, the more apt I am to, like, with the kids AC upstairs. I didn't need to put it on, but I plugged it in. I noticed the buttons are at the top because I was looking for buttons at the bottom. I didn't see anything. Pressed it, nothing happened, and then I, remember holding it because it's just the mechanisms.
She's professional, and man. So, yeah, she's professional.
I'm working on it. I mean, and that is my default. The moment a power station want to be, all like difficult, like, I ain't got you to do. I got this wall outlet right here.
That's not cool, man. But I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, that's my that's the first. But I'm not, I'm not gonna stick around for like 5 minutes trying to figure it out. Like, either you're gonna work for me easily, or because I be having stuff to do.
What you had to do?
Not be there doing that.
True. So we are in this state of, basically, if Dell doesn't have to cook, then I can run my house off of solar, like legit. And that's pretty dope because we typically cook, we being Dell, we typically use the stove like around noon, 2-ish, and then dinner. We don't do a whole lot of stove stuff. I don't know, she's not going to necessarily be a part, but she changing because I got that induction cooktop that I sometimes want to start using.
It's just not necessary. It's
For me, I'll use it because if I'm just frying sausage for the kids and I'm microwaving, some Eggos or something like that, it's like why go to the point of disconnecting everything only to cook for 15 minutes when I could just throw that on an induction cooktop.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to convince you. I don't want to convince you.
I mean, there's a part of me that I feel like if that's going to get you to like cook more, then I could appreciate it. But if you talking about the little bit that you do,
Yeah,
but it's yours. It's like extra steps and extra work and whatnot. Maybe one or two extra steps, maybe three extra steps. It's like if you want to do all that, I've been asking you to cook more often. Yeah, I've been asking him to cook more often. Just little baby steps, just to help us out, you know. And he just will not. Like we have these frozen hamburger patties. All you gotta do from frozen, just take the little what's the paper called?
parchment.
Yeah, just take peel the parchment paper off. You put them in the pan, frozen. Once they start cooking up and thawing, then you just season them a little bit on each side, cook them till they're all the way done, and voila. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, bro. You can do that, right? I'm trying to like get you to take baby steps to start cooking more often, as opposed to just like preparing. You know, I'm trying to relieve my burden of cooking.
You're selfish, basically, is what you're saying.
How?
Because it's for you. I'm joking, but you
Mm.
didn't find it humorous.
Yeah, because I'm waiting for you to make good on like, oh, think about it. It's like you have to warm up to stuff, and he like it takes months to warm up to stuff.
It does, sadly.
Yeah.
It does.
Why does it take so long for you to warm up to stuff?
I'm gonna be honest with you. All things that I have to do and produce, I need quiet cognitive time to think about it.
Mm.
When I don't have the time to think about it, then I have to go with what I can do quickly.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, I understand.
because I can sit in the kitchen and it'll take me a good 3-4 minutes just to get something going because I'm thinking about what I have to do.
I think it's funny because it's like I can really understand, you know, just that's just how you are. Like you're a thinker, you're methodical and just all this stuff that's taking place in you. Whereas for me, I'm just an executor. I just do. I just do. Yeah, I figure it out as I go along. Yeah, then you're a perfectionist. I'm not a perfectionist.
Because I don't like to be wasteful and things like that. And I just know that I'm
Yeah, see,
prone
I'll
to.
waste whatever. Whoop, bad. Whoop,
Yeah, that's
throw
crazy.
that away. Oh, that ain't work. Well, oil's too hot on those two. Toss those.
Yeah, I'm just,
When I do
man.
mess up, like the other day, I had over seasoned everything. So all six of us were at the table eating like super salty everything.
It wasn't super salty.
Yes, it
It was
was.
salty. It wasn't super salty. It wasn't like inedibly salty.
It was like it was too much, it was, and everybody was forced to eat.
I feel like now you're exaggerating. We weren't forced to eat it. What are you
I
talking about?
mean, we were forced to eat it, and that's what I cooked.
Oh yeah, I just feel like no, you gotta eat it. That's what I think of when I hear
Oh
force.
no, just that's what we had before us, and so if you wanted to eat, that's what we had to eat. So you win some, you lose some.
I can't afford to be out here messing stuff up. I'm just not into it.
But you can. That's how you. That's how you.
But it's a principle thing. You know what I mean? It's not just about that. Like I remember like being in DC and like if I'm not paying attention, like I'm going in the other direction because like it's like well I got on the wrong train because I'm trying to and so you know what I mean it's like I have to be intentional with stuff.
You don't like mistakes.
No, I don't.
You don't like
I don't like wasting my time either. Like I don't want to get home later. I want to get home at the time I'm used to getting home. It's like it was 6:30. Like what happened? Like man, don't you know? I jumped on a freaking yellow, going to freaking Union Station because I'm used to the red going to Union. I'm just not a fan.
And I just find like that's actually just okay. I mean, I get it, but for the most part, it's just like there's people that I've met, saw, you know what I mean? Like there's always like good that can come out of stuff like that. What?
You went right to extrovert route. Like there's people that I met, and so I don't want no more people.
True.
No, that's fine. I
Yeah.
get that. I understand that 100%. All right, so folks, I'm gonna wrap this up. Let me see. Crock pot for throw it. I actually want to get one of those. What are those things? It's not a crock pot. It's not a slow cooker. It's the other stuff.
Instant cooker?
Instant pot.
Instant pot?
I thought about that. That could be a thing,
I
but
think
there's only
that's for
certain
like
things you could do in the
cooking.
Instant Pot.
That's for like cooking something that takes hours, like really quickly.
Yeah, I feel like if it's quick, I don't know. I thought about it. I'm not saying I thought about it seriously,
True.
but it's just something. I wonder if that would be like a way to bridge a gap. Let's see. My electric is 9 cents between. Oh, you got the little time of use stuff between 3 and 6 a.m. 30. Ooh, Lord. 36 cents peak. I never used the oven stove whatsoever at all. 36 cents. That's a lot. I mean, it's not a lot in the grand scheme of things when you just think about an hour or two a day, but it adds up. Instant Pot is magic for that. I buy season and freeze chicken, and when I'm ready, I toss it in the pressure cooker with some frozen veggies, rice seasonings, and water, and boom. Now, is a Instant Pot a pressure cooker? Do we use those interchangeably? Minus 3 to 7 in the summer with 33 cents. In the winter, his stuff gets complicated. I'm not even gonna go there. Nothing beats a failure but a try.
There you go.
Nothing beats a failure. I don't understand that. My brain just
All you had to do is just try.
That doesn't compute.
Wait.
What?
MJ's.
She talking to Sete. Mind your business.
I want to see.
Mind your business.
Thaw the steak in 2 minutes. All right. You know what? I just have a post on Facebook about cast iron and stainless steel pots and how I'm so nervous about investing in cast iron because I have so much conflicting, information. Hey.
Instant Pot is a brand name for a pressure cooker.
Oh, okay.
Boom. Now you know. Dun, 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 dun. All right, folks, y'all be beautiful. I'm gonna work on that video. I'm gonna put it unlisted in the whatever. Thank you to the folks who hung out with me to the end. Thank you to the folks who had to leave early. I respect it. It's freaking midnight. I get it. Y'all be beautiful. No, it's midnight for some people. I know less stuff, more freedom. He was in Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I'm gonna just let it linger a little bit because Setai asked me to. I don't remember why, but he did. Thanks for another great live. Good night. You can do almost anything in the Instant Pot, and it does pressure cook.
I'm nervous because when you do Instant Pot or whatever, like you can't open it. Like I'm big on being able to make sure that it's seasoned well, except when I blow it, of course. But like I couldn't taste the food. But anyways, I like to taste the food and to change it up accordingly. While cooking, versus like once you close it, like it's a wrap. Like you just got to deal with however it comes out. And that seems like it's a little unnerving for me. Like I can't control it. That's what my hesitation was with the air fryer.
Okay.
For some reason, I don't know why, but I thought once I put the food in the air fryer, I couldn't check it, and so that stopped me from using it for a long time. Meanwhile that's not the case. So like I be feeling like I want to turn it around and make sure the heat is distributing through the food evenly.
I just want to like fade to black. Not because I want you to stop talking, but I feel like you're not talking to them per se. You're just talking. You can open it. You just have to open. What does that say?
The valve. Oh, okay. I only know about them from cooking shows. And so in the cooking shows, like they're like, they're pressed for time. So, in my mind, I'm thinking of it differently, but not realizing the parameters that the person I'm watching is.
We'll have to just talk to Setai about it because he seems to, he has all the information.
Nice. We could do that. Good night, guys.